Hello there, guys, and welcome back to my channel for my live reaction and player ratings live stream following Chelsea 2, Heidenheim 0. And what a weird game it was. I mean, it proved to be the most difficult game, most likely. Obviously, we still have a couple to go, but it proved to be a most difficult game of the league stage, of the group stage. I still can't get around this word league stage or whatever. Like, it's group stage, but it's a league, so I don't know. It confuses me every time. But Chelsea got the dub. Chelsea got the dub in the end. Mudryk with an absolute worldie at the end to seal the game. What a finish that is. Absolutely ridiculous. Christopher Nkunku making it 1-0 earlier in the game. But unfortunately, potentially picking up an injury. Unclear whether he, was injured or tired. Did a muscle just close up? Was it a cramp? Is it an injury as such? Who knows? Difficult to judge. Difficult as such. Welcome for Tutu. Welcome, God of Frogs. Welcome, all of you. Appreciate you all tuning in. Make sure you get involved in the chat. As you can tell, it's me, myself, and I with you guys in the chat today. So I want to converse with you. I want to talk to you about the game, what we all thought and felt. But yeah, we got the dub done. Still unbeaten, still with a perfect record in the UEFA Conference League, with an outrageous goal difference as it keeps continuing. But the game wasn't as easy as, a lot of the other Conference League games. Obviously, I know against Ghent we conceded 2, and tonight we didn't. But we could have conceded some. And Filip Jörgensen made a serious claim and statement towards, the #1 goalkeeper spot at Chelsea Football Club. It's kind of an impressive performance from him, not just in terms of saving the ball, also a couple of occasions playing out from the back really, really well, even under pressure. So there was a lot of stuff to be enjoyed there from Filip Jörgensen. We'll obviously talk about his performance in detail as we go through the game. But yeah, I mean, obviously we should have scored a lot more goals. Mark Yu himself could have scored, well, maybe saying he should have scored or could have scored a hat-trick is maybe a bit far and a bit harsh, but he certainly could have scored 2 early on in the game. And Nkunku should have scored more when he had that chip. I don't know what that chip was. I don't know why he was chipping that over the goal. No idea. And then Dewsbury Hall had a huge chance in the second half as well. Mudryk had a header that he could have done a bit better with, if I'm honest. I think we should have had a penalty. We'll see what the chat thinks and what you all think about that. But I personally don't really understand why that wasn't given as a penalty on Mykhailo Mudryk. Like, there was clearly contact. He's running at a lot of speed, and the defender is just, closing the door on him without getting anywhere near the ball. So to me, that's a penalty. I'm still not sure what the referee initially gave as a decision. Did he initially give a dive? And did he want to book Mudryk? That's what I thought. But then I saw a lot of people talking about, decision overturns. They didn't give a penalty, but he didn't give a dive or a penalty. So I don't know about this one, but yeah, I think we should have had a penalty. But yeah, let me see what you guys have said so far. God of Frog says, shocking defending from most of the game. Only looked good near the end of the game. Offside trap looked nice at that point. I mean, I guess if that's how you want to word it, I was thinking, bloody hell, we conceded 2 offside goals later on. Now, they were correctly offside, to be fair, but still, I'm not quite sure if it was at the end so much better than earlier in the game, if I'm honest. The Demonin says, shocking defense. Thank you, Jurgensen. Yeah, absolutely. KDH, so Kiernan Dewsbury Hall, and the Disasi, I assume you mean, really need to be sold. Yeah, I mean, it was weird because, well, both of them had terrible moments in that game. But Dewsbury Hall somehow managed to get himself involved in both of the goals that we scored. So, but yeah, he also had some terrible moments. He had a terrible miss as well. Disasi. I mean, also Disasi was involved in the first goal, actually, with some good aggression, good winning the ball back from the Heidenheim player. So there you go. But yeah, we'll talk about it. I agree with you. Mudryk was moving full speed and he got clipped. It wasn't a dive. Exactly. Ref thought it was a dive. That's what I thought. I'm going to call you Favole. Sorry that I'm not confident enough to pronounce your first name. My apologies, bro. He says Casadei got sent off. Yes, he did. At the very, very end, 90 plus 6, he got himself sent off with a second yellow card, funnily enough. The first yellow card he got in stoppage time of the first half. Honestly, I didn't see. I was preparing a stream. I didn't look at the TV anymore, and they didn't show a replay. So I have no idea. I saw a lot of people tell me it was an unjustified second yellow card. Never a yellow card. Shouldn't have been sent off. I don't know. I'm sorry, guys. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, obviously a shame for Casadei because he might well have started the next 2 games as well because he played essentially the full 90 today. But yeah, it is what it is. Fatucci says, didn't watch the entire game, but from the minutes I watched, the game looks like top of all our conference games in terms of competitiveness. 100%. You're 100% spot on, Fatucci, even if you didn't catch the whole game. Favole says again, Disasi needs to go. Disasi losing the ball. Casadei sends off. Oh, did it? Bloody hell. Disasi, Axel, what you doing, man? what are you doing, man? We didn't get out of first gear today. I mean, that's one way of calling it. That's one way of saying we weren't great. But yeah, no, I mean, I'll take it. We'll take it. Couture, criminal. Jörgensen needs to start in the league. Now, that is the big one. That is the big question. Let me see if there's any nice pictures of good old Jörgensen up already, because bloody hell, we need to talk about... Sorry, I've just seen something and it's kind of blown my mind a little bit. I need to show you. It's kind of funny by the Chelsea admin as well. Not about Jörgensen, but as you can see, we'll do it like this. We'll do it like this. You can't read it. Wait, let me remove this quickly, then you can read what it says. Oh, yeah, where is the thing? Now you can read it. Siri, define toppings. Bloody hell. What a finish that was by Mykhailo Mudryk, by the way. Absolutely outrageous. Now, he didn't have his best game, even though I still think he was threatening. He obviously had that header. Really should have had an assist if Dewsbury Hall didn't spend the time on the floor crying instead of running into the box. Would have had an easy tap in because it was a great cutback from Mudryk. And he could have had an assist for Gue as well, even though that took a deflection halfway through, so would it have counted as his assist? Who knows? But that finish was outrageous. That finish was outrageous. Yeah, he misses one game. Yeah, of course. How many? No. He just missed this Conference League game, bro. Conference League. UEFA games are separate. Now, in Premier League games, you can get suspensions in the Cup. It's a bit weird. I think for FA Cups, they don't count. For League Cup, they do. Or is it the other way around? God knows. But no, Casadei is not suspended for a Prem game. Arguably, that would be better because he definitely wouldn't be playing in the Prem. But yeah, that was a peach of a goal from Mudryk. Yes, it was. No idea why no one has posted a photo of Jörgensen yet, because bloody hell, he was absolutely out of this world today, and frankly, saved us the 3 points in much of a sense, really. We'll obviously look at the stats and go through the player ratings later anyway. But Pys has posted this tonight. And he posted the Sofa score rating. He's got a 9.8 rating via Sofa score. Made 11 saves, prevented an XG of 2.18, 7 saves from shots inside the box. Good passing accuracy as well. 4 out of 11 long balls. Now, that could be better. But bloody hell, 9.8. That is incredible. Now, guys, what did you make of Filip Jörgensen today? Talk to me. Did Filip Jörgensen do... Oh, I need to make this bigger so you can actually see. Sorry. Did Filip Jörgensen do enough for you today to have a serious shot at starting against Aston Villa on Sunday? Now, if I'm being totally honest with you guys, and I think most of you will probably have the same thought, he's not starting. Let's be honest, guys. He is not starting on Sunday. Maresca will stick with Sanchez. He will. But should he? I think Jörgensen did a lot today and did enough today to warrant himself a start in the Premier League. I can't lie. I think he did really, really good. Now, sure, he's only had one game that was close to this level, and he was at a high level. That was the Newcastle away game in the Cup that we unfortunately lost, and he did make a mistake that in the end kind of led to a goal, and a couple of other passing mistakes as well. But, it's one game. Everybody can have a bad game. It's difficult when you only play super bad oppositions where no one really takes it seriously what you do, and then you only have one game where it's a bit more difficult. Poor distribution today, did you think? Do you mean in general, or do you mean from Filip Jörgensen? Because I disagree with that. There was a few long balls that weren't great, absolutely. But I think there was a couple of occasions where he evaded pressure really, really nicely, kept it simple, kept it smooth. When Jörgensen has the ball, I don't feel terrified of conceding and him giving the ball away. Now, I know there was one occasion where him trying to kick it long got kind of blocked, but that was because Badiashile passed Jörgensen the ball when he really shouldn't have. You can criticize Jörgensen for not looking, but Jörgensen wasn't looking when Badiashile passed him the ball, and Jörgensen didn't even realize. So, more poor communication than poor distribution, in my opinion, but we'll see. Heidenheim gave Bayern Munich a game. Exactly. Heidenheim were not bad. They had to come, 7th, 8th in the Bundesliga last season to be in this Conference League. So I know they're 15th now, and they haven't had the best of seasons, but they were unbeaten in the... had a perfect record in the Conference League until today as well. I'm pretty sure they were on the same number of max points as we have been. So, they're not bad. And they clearly gave us a game. The German commentator while I was watching the game, was talking about how this stadium and this club has probably never seen an atmosphere like this as well. So they were proper up for it. You know what I mean? So this was not an easy night. And sure, people can be critical and people can say, oh, we were terrible and this and that. Sure, you can if you want. If you really want to be critical like that, you can. But this was not easy. This was not an easy game at all. And by the way, one thing, the Greeks, they should hang their heads in shame, because remember how everybody, including myself, was like, oh yeah, Panathinaikos away will be so difficult because of the atmosphere. It's going to be so hostile and everything. Panathinaikos wasn't even half as loud as Heidenheim was all game long. Panathinaikos wasn't even as loud for 2 minutes as Heidenheim were for the whole 90 minutes. So fair play to them. I got to say, fair play to them. Let me read out a few more messages of your guys in the chat. JC, shout out you. Jörgensen, get in. For Tutu says Jörgensen over Sanchez. Journalists need to have that conversation ASAP with Maresca. I mean, maybe they will, but it won't happen. Let's be honest. It's time to give Jörgensen a chance. I agree, Gabriel. I agree. JC says, would not be a Chelsea game without missing sitters. It's true. Jetmir says, start him in the Premier League. I would love so. I would love so. Got a Frogs, not to bitch and moan too much, but that was a 15th place Bundesliga team out of 18. Yeah, no, you're right with that. But again, last season they had to finish 8th or 7th, whatever. And they were as perfect as we were in the Conference League until today. Happy Jörgensen had a great game, but rather he didn't have to put on a 9.8 kind of performance. And that is very true. That is very true. In the grand scheme of things, in the grand scheme of the bigger picture, it would be nice if he didn't have to make those saves, especially that second one that he made at the near post. What a save it was from Vanna. The striker, obviously, from Heidenheim, by the way, who's German, but somehow could also play for Austria and is currently deciding who he wants to play for. He already got called up for the German national team and said no, because he's still deciding who he actually wants to play for. So that's interesting. But yeah, like Jetmir said earlier, Heidenheim gave Bayern Munich a game, to be fair, which your criminal Jörgensen literally stood on his head, only bettered by Müller, the Heidenheim keeper. Did he? I think Jörgensen made much bigger and better saves than Müller did. I think most of Müller's saves were terrible finishing from our end, personally. Gabriel says he's better than Sanchez. Was that a red, though? Like I said earlier, I didn't see it. I genuinely didn't see it, so I can't be sure. Sanchez did have his best game versus Villa at home last season, ironically. I mean, good memory. I don't remember, if I'm honest, when he had his best game last season. I just remember misery. But yeah, German fans are renowned for their good supporters, to be fair. That was definitely evident today, absolutely. But so are the Greek supporters, and they flopped. Is Sancho afraid of having a shot at the goalkeeper? Superb with assist, but you need to grow in confidence, start testing the post. I agree with that for Tutu. Now, because today he played on the right-hand side, and we'll get into the lineup in a second, because today he played on the right-hand side, I'm a little bit less, is the right word, annoyed at that, but I'm more understanding, because I'm not surprised by it. You know, Sancho is quite heavily right-footed. He's playing on the right, so he's more going to look for the assist and the goal. But obviously the valid point is, that because he was playing, you know, when he plays on the left, he doesn't really go for goal very often either. That's true. Heidenheim 3, Bayern Munich 2. It's true. That did happen early in the season. So, you know, give ourselves some credit. But even though that happened, they're still only 15. So make of that what you will, I suppose. I pray Sanchez gets sent off. Well, I bloody hope not, mate. I bloody hope not, because even if Sanchez gets sent off and needs to be replaced, then we're still a man down. Do you know what I mean? So let's hope not. Germans are spoiled for choice on goalies. I mean, less so these days. Obviously, Neuer has now retired from international football. Ter Stegen is badly injured, so now kind of the goalies are a bit shit. But, you know, off topic, do we need to buy Jadon Sancho at the end of the season? Yes, we do. It's an obligation to buy for, wrong picture, for 20 to 25 million pounds, depending on a few things. So long as we finish at least 14th in the Premier League, it's an obligation to buy. If we would finish lower than 14th, then we wouldn't have to buy. But we know that's not happening, do we? So there you go. Let me bring up the lineup. I have it shared as it is, kind of as it was in possession. Now, in the first half, you could these two, Dewsbury, Holland, and Nkunku, were switched around. I'm not 100% sure if they switched at some point during the first half or only at halftime. If I'm honest, I'm not 1,000% sure, but most certainly in the second half, it was this way. Come off. What's happening? Can you see me? Guys, tell me whether you can see me, because for a second I had a buffering loading thing. So hopefully that's fine. And that's a bit of a problem then. No, I disagree. I think Sancho did good today. Got himself 2 assists. He hasn't played in a hot minute now. You know, I think they're right. I don't. I mean, yeah, he could have shot a few more times. I hope yes means you can see me. Thank you, boys. JJ Bridge, appreciate you for tuning in as well. So this was the formation that we turned up with in possession today. Jörgensen a goal. Obviously, we discussed him already. A back four, if you will, obviously out of possession. Renato Vega, the left back. Badiashile, left centre back. Tosin, central centre back in possession. Disasi, right centre back in possession. Right back out of possession. I guess in possession midfield two of Casadei, with obviously inverting Vega. Dewsbury Hall playing kind of above them. But in possession, obviously dropping a bit deeper. Guiu up front and Nkunku as the number 10, not having to play a striker today, so lucky for him. Mudryk at left wing and Jadon Sancho at right wing. Your sound is a bit off here and there, but I think it's better now. Well, hopefully. My apologies if the connection isn't as good as, well, what's the best word? As it should be. Maybe that will be the best word to use. Let me turn off a few things to hopefully improve things, but there's unfortunately only so much I can do. But yeah, there you go. I mean, guys, what did you make of the lineup? Did you have any issues with the lineup? Did you have any surprises in the lineup? Honestly, it was kind of what I expected for the large parts. I guess the only thing I wasn't sure about is would Casadei start? Would he go with Casadei, or would he rather go with play Renato Vega and Dewsbury Hall as a double pivot and be more attacking and not play Casadei? But in the end, first of all, with how the game went, in terms of, Heidenheim was certainly not bad. They were putting us under pressure. They were giving us a good test. And also, like Kevin said, Casadei was good. I agree. Casadei was good. And honestly, I think he's a bit of an overrated player a little bit, especially after that first game that he played for us against Barrow early in the season in the Cup, where we won, 5-0? And people were like, oh, he's bad. And then he played a couple of games in the Conference League, but especially the last few times that he did get to play, I thought it was very good. Even the first few minutes, there was one occasion where he was getting pressured. He received the ball from the centre-back. He played it around the corner first time. Nice whiz on the ball. Played it to Dewsbury Hall. Dewsbury Hall couldn't control the ball and it bounced off into Narnia. But, still, good job just out of Casadei. Obviously, got sent off in the end, so that wasn't ideal. But outside of getting sent off, I think he did a good job. Godfrogs didn't expect you and Casadei, to be honest. I mean, I did kind of expect you, if I'm honest, purely because of, well, it was either going to be you and Nkunku as the 10 or Nkunku as the 10, or Nkunku as the striker, and maybe Carnage Kwameka as the 10, unless João Felix would have started again, but I didn't really expect it, if I'm honest. So, what am I saying? Disasi is just so bad. I am baffled. I mean, yeah, he is bad for the most part. Now, I still want to give him that little bit of, kind of leeway, because he's playing right back. Look at the guy. Does he look like a right back to you? No. But he also did good to win the ball back in the build-up to the first goal. That was very, very huge. Fire Red says, really like him, really want him to get more minutes. I assume you're talking about Casadei. So, yeah, fair play. But, yeah, for me, not much of a surprise. The only couple of ones that I wasn't 100% sure on was, I guess, Casadei and Sancho, to be honest. Now, it made sense that he played, but obviously he hadn't played in a while, and we weren't sure, would he, now that he is back, would he go back into the Premier League team on Sunday? Because presumably, if we're playing tonight, he's not going to play on Sunday. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah, that's at least my take on it. Casadei, that is from Fire Red. Now, let me go to FOTMob and look at some stats of this game. Let's have a broader perspective on the game and see what we make of it. Before we go through the player ratings. Let me just make it big enough for you guys. You can see everything. We had 67% possession, 2.90 in XG. Certainly could have scored more than we did, but this is a big one. Heidenheim also nearly had 2 goals, 2.0 in XG with 1.97. We had 17 shots. They had 16. They had 11 on target. We only had 9 on target, but we had 5 big chances. They only had 2. Yeah, obviously we had a lot more passes with more possession. That makes sense. We committed less fouls, had more corners, didn't do anything with them, but sure. I mean, set play XG was, again, absolutely diabolical, but there you go. But yeah, we had 5 shots off target, like I touched on, 9 shots on target, 3 blocked shots, neither hit the woodwork. Shots inside the box from our end was 15. I mean, is there more? Sure. Tackles won. They won 1 more tackle than we did. Obviously, they will have had more interceptions and blocks and those kind of things. Purely because we had more possession and we're attacking more, better team and everything. Accurate long balls, their percentages were stronger, to be fair. So fair play to them. But obviously, the way we play, it's also easier to play long balls against us than it is against a team sitting fairly deep and, defensively or defensive. But yeah, interesting. Look at all these things down here. Kevin Müller, that was their goalkeeper. He got an 8.5 from FOTMob. Jörgensen got a 9.2 from FOTMob. Let's go to the lineup. Obviously, we looked at the SofaScore ratings. Let's look at him, at Jörgensen here. we talked about it and we looked at it already. 11 saves is very impressive. 3 or 4 of those. That double save was outrageous. First, he blocked it with his chest. Really strong save. And then down to his left, really lovely to, kind of poke it around the corner with his fingertips. Phenomenal save. That one in the first half I spoke about, where you raised his arm, was strong at the near post. Basically, exactly the kind of goal that Robert Sanchez was not able to avoid or stop against Arsenal when Martinelli obviously scored from the near post or at the near post against Sanchez. Filip Jörgensen made sure exactly that didn't happen today. So big up yourself, Filip Jörgensen. Like I said, I think he very much warrants getting a start in the Premier League team, but I just don't think he will. Renato was good. Oh, bloody hell. We're giving ratings already in the chat. Have a general idea what I'd score most people out of 10 from defense to midfield. I don't think I'd score anyone above 7.5. Absolutely not. Maybe Casadei 7.5, maybe. Renato was good. Okay, well, we'll see. 10, I assume, for Jurgensen. 8 from Kevin. For me, the 18 wingers should be Neto on the right, Sancho on the left, B-team wingers, Mudryk on the left, Noni on the right, given their performances since the beginning of the season. I mean, in the grand scheme of things of how often they played well and how often they didn't, I think there's a case to be made that Mudryk deserves to be the first choice left winger over Neto. But obviously, Mudryk played a lot of games in the Conference League, lesser opposition and stuff. So I don't think you're super far off, if I'm honest. Now, Sancho obviously had a few good games, then had that terrible game away at Anfield, got subbed off at halftime, and then we haven't seen him now since that game. So obviously, a fair bit of things have happened, a fair bit of results have happened. But yeah, I arguably agree, but it's probably not going to happen, is it? I mean, Thunder is going to be interesting because Neto is expected to be back fit. So it's going to be interesting whether they're going to play Neto on the left, Maresca on the right, or whether we're going to change something up. Or maybe we're going to do something similar again to what we did last weekend with playing Cucurella essentially as the left mid in possession. It's a tough one. The major thing about Jorgensen is my BP. Yeah, my blood pressure did not shoot up watching him. Exactly. Cranky Pants. Hello, mate. Hola, Laurenz. Big up. Good Thursday. We'll be pretty silent here. Work's got me knackered. Sancho should have had 3 assists, by the way. We sold Gallagher for Dewsbury Hall. Oh, yeah, for Nkunku, of course, the through ball. I forgot. Yeah. No, wait. That was Felix. Who should he have had that other assist for? Or was it, did he play Dewsbury Hall in? Honestly, not sure. But yeah, I mean, obviously, Dewsbury Hall is terrible. I think we all know that by now. I will get to the rating screen in a second. I think Jurgensen very much deserves a 10 today. How often can a goalie get a 10? Making 11 saves, keeping a clean sheet, making some absolute worldy saves, preventing 2.18 in XG is incredible. He did very, very well. Played KDH, and yeah, there you go. Fair enough. Yeah, then he should have even had 3 assists. But yeah, let's look at the first centre back, and then we'll go through the rest of the ratings in that sense. Now, I wasn't happy with Tosin Adarabioyo. I'm struggling with it. How can I say Kepa Arrizabalaga so smoothly? But Adarabioyo, I struggle with. Bloody hell. Sorry, Tosin. There was this one little pass he had to Casadei where he super underhit it. Casadei tried to stretch, fell over. They had a counter-attack. I was like, sorry, Tosin, what the flip are you doing? He also should have scored the goal from a Dewsbury Hall assist. Caught a free kick just before half-time, actually. Kind of bottled it. Yeah, I mean, passing, sure. Didn't do anything great, though, did he? 3 out of 6 long balls, all right. Ground duels, 3. Aerial duels, my God, you are so tall. You're like 6'5", 6'6". What do you mean 0 out of 2 aerial duels? Absolutely diabolical. Absolutely diabolical. What are we thinking, guys? What are we thinking for Tosin? Because, I mean, we kept the clean sheet, but it was more about Jurgensen and more about, them being offside. Now, you can say we played a good offside trap, I suppose, if you want to word it that way, if you want. I mean, let's make it quick. Give Jurgensen the 10. Absolutely deserves it. You know what? Maybe we should add. I will start doing this from now on. Whoever is the man of the match gets a star as well. And there's no one going to get a higher rating than Filip Jörgensen tonight, that's for sure. But what about Tosin? I'm thinking like a 6. And I'm thinking if even a 6 isn't a bit too high. Get involved, guys. Let me know what you think, because I'm really undecided what I want to give good old Tosin. Can't remember. That was a few weeks ago earlier in the season, when there was people telling me that Tosin is better than Wesley Fofana. I'm like, excuse me. Now, I don't mind Tosin. He seems to be a leader. He seems to be a good character. He seems to be, a bit more responsible, a bit more of a calmer character than all of the other players. So I like that about him. But how we replaced Thiago Silva, one of the best centre-backs in history of this beautiful sport, with Tosin? Really, bro? My God. I mean, Godofrog says 5.5. Guys, get involved. If the reason you're not chatting is that you haven't subscribed, because the chat is only open to subscribe people, make sure you hit the subscribe button right down below. We're still on the road to 20,000 subscribers, so make sure you hit that subscribe button. Every new subscriber counts. It really means a lot to me, so please hit that big red subscribe button down below. Might not be red anymore nowadays, so whatever. And like as well, because liking these streams help me spread it out to more people. But I need you guys to get involved. I need you guys to get involved because I really want to know and want to see what you guys are thinking and saying in terms of the rating for Tosin Adarabioyo. I'm trying. I would just keep trying to hopefully get there in the end. I mean, yeah, the problem is the stats for centre-backs, especially in games like this, are a bit difficult. Because obviously, at 99 attempted passes, 92 of them successful. You know what I mean? It's not that bad, and I can't give him a low rating purely for not winning aerial duels when we didn't concede. But it still seems to me he needs to get a bit more. The clean sheet is a bit of smoke and mirror for score ratings on defense. Yeah, no, absolutely. No, ignore the so I can't speak. Sorry, the SofaScore, FOTMob ratings. Ignore the actual ratings they give them. I say ignore. They're certainly an indicator, but certainly my ratings are usually quite different. Don't know why you guys don't want to get involved in talking about Tosin's rating, but maybe you just don't care. But hey, I appreciate you still being there. So I'll give Tosin a 6. I'll give Tosin a 6. If you have more to say after the fact, please do. Turns out I spelled Disasi's name with a capital I for absolutely no reason, because, yeah, Disasi didn't have the best game, did he? Maybe I should do Badiashile first, but I'm now on Disasi, so we'll do Disasi. Let's look at him. I mean, passing accuracy is good. Only misplaced 4 passes. You can't complain too much with that. 2 successful dribbles as well. 2 out of 2 successful long balls. Now sorry, but I don't get it. He won the ball in the build-up to our first goal with a tackle. How can you tell me it's 0 out of 3 tackles? Now, maybe it was a ground duel that they counted it as, but isn't it a tackle? Like the way he wins the ball, surely that's a tackle. Overall, I'll give Disasi the same rating as Tosin. Even though Disasi in the grand scheme of things was worse. I think Disasi, and in particular, one really... I'll give him 5.5. I'll give him ever so slightly less. But I don't think there's much between them, because he still did really good to win the ball back and help us score that first goal. And that first goal was crucial in this game. But obviously, he nearly helped them score, that incredible Jörgensen save that we're talking about with the strong arm at the near post. Well, that was purely set up by Disasi being a bit of a bozo. So there you go. So Axel Disasi, a 5.5. What am I seeing? JJ Bridge says, a lot of these guys won't be here next season if we get Champions League. Can't have 2 full squads. I mean, on the one hand, you're obviously right. On the other hand, if we're going in the Champions League, we can't, reduce our squad to 18 players either. Now, I do think that we should be improving our centre backs, in particular, in the case of Axel Disasi. Not like we wouldn't have had Trevor Chalobah. It would have perfectly fit the situation, but we just decided not to do that. That's funny. So Manchester United scored in the second minute in the second game consecutively under Ruben Amorim. This time Garnacho, not Marcus Rashford, but Bodo Glimt equalised, which is kind of funny. If you have in the football club's name with a slash in the middle, and you're scoring at Old Trafford, fair play to you. JJ Bridge would have given Tosin a 6.5. Kevin says 4. Fair enough. 5 for Disasi. I think Tosin was a little better. But then again, Disasi was playing right back. Yeah. Fortuita says Sanchez plus Jörgensen debate is simple. Question. When both are on the field, which one of them get you edgy and worried on your seat as likely to make a mistake and concede a goal? I mean, for me, it's simple too. But I also know for a fact that Sanchez will start again on Sunday. So what can I do, man? What can I do, bro? It's not my decision. But I agree. And the Demonent says the issue with Disasi is he's not a right back. There is a pathway with Reece James resigns history. Hopefully Josh resigns. Yes. So I guess actually we can talk about this. So Josh Achimpong, obviously we've discussed it previously on my channel. There's been contract disputes between him and Chelsea. He signed his first professional contract earlier this year. Your first professional contract by UK law is only allowed to be 2 years long. It's only allowed to be 2 years long. And now Chelsea wanted to sign a new contract. Now, supposedly Chelsea were like, well, we thought there is a contract on the table that will end up getting signed. That didn't end up happening. Now, for the last, I would roughly estimate 2 months, he hasn't even been in the squad, hasn't been allowed to train. at least with the first team, but also has not been allowed to play with the under-21s or under-18s. I'm not sure if he's been allowed to train with them or not. That's not 100% clear. And then randomly, all of a sudden, yesterday morning, he turned out in the training pictures, and all of a sudden, everybody was like, what's happening? Felix Johnson the day before saying there's been a bit of a breakthrough and positive advancements, but nothing, done yet. And everybody was gassed when he was in training yesterday, and then he didn't even travel anywhere when a lot of the other youth players did. So, yeah, like the Demonin says, he's not a right back. Achipong, please stay and sign and get used, because Reece is obviously never there. And I guess on this note, we can also talk about Reece James. So what we got earlier today was injury news from Reece James. Now, obviously, we knew he got injured, and we knew we were waiting for the scan to tell us how bad the injury is. He had this scan now, and all we know is that he won't be back before the end of December, most likely by the middle of January. It's another hamstring injury. Now, the problem is there has been inconclusive and contradicting reports as to what exactly the injury is. Now, initially, it was said that it is the same leg as the hamstring that he had surgery on earlier this year, or at the end of last year. Then there was a report saying it's a new injury, but in the same leg, which I'm like, is that even possible? I'm not a doctor. Can you do your hamstring in two different spots? I don't know. And then Simon Johnson from The Athletic came out and said, actually, it's the other leg, which Chelsea think is a positive that it's the other leg and not the same leg that at least had surgery. I guess with the thought that maybe the surgery can help the hamstrings. So maybe are they going to ship him off to do surgery on the other hamstring as well? I don't know. But yeah, went completely off on a tangent when we were supposed to do play ratings, but it was topics worth discussing. Axel Disasi again, 5.5 rating from me. Still did good on winning us, on helping us get that first goal, but obviously was poor defensively on a few occasions. Yeah. I mean, honestly, I still don't think I would have been far off if I'd given Tosin and Disasi the same ratings, but hey, here we are. Let's move on to Big Benoit by the show. And he had a weird night. In the sense that less than a minute into the game, he got himself booked already. Now, personally, I think it was a bit of a disgraceful booking, and he should never have been a booking. But there you go. But yeah, 93% passing accuracy, misplaced 5 of them. Still a lot less than Tosin had in terms of numbers. 4 out of 5 long balls is still strong, though. 0 tackles, 0 out of 3 ground duels. Bloody hell, he had a tough afternoon, didn't he? By the issue. Do we think it's unfair, guys, if I give Badiashile the lowest rating of the back three? Because I understand why people are more upset with Badiashile, Disasi. But for me, another thing with Badiashile is how can you have played so well in that Premier League game against Leicester just 5 days ago on Saturday? Played so well. All of us were like, even myself and Pyce on our podcast, Chelsea Unfiltered, by the way, link is down in the description to the latest episode, which did come out just 2 days ago on Tuesday, where we discussed the Leicester game in detail, and we also look ahead to this Heidenheim game that took place tonight. So obviously, follow us if you're listening to things on Spotify, if you're listening to things on Apple Podcast, check them out, link it down in the description. New episodes every single Tuesday. And of course, there will be a new episode next Tuesday talking about this game and the Aston Villa game on Sunday. But yeah, Badiashile was so strong against Leicester that he was then so poor again tonight. Now, obviously, getting booked in the first half in the first minute doesn't help. But then there was another occasion where he let them through, just poor defending. Honestly, I'll give him a 5. I'll give Badiashile a 5, and I'll drop Tosin's rating to a 5.5. That's what I'm going to do. I genuinely don't think any of them deserve an average 6. I'd give him joint low with Disasi. Fair enough. If Chelsea qualify for the Champions League next season, Badiashile and Disasi need to be sold ASAP. Chalobah are better than both of them, in my opinion. I mean, yeah. Well, Man United are losing against Bodo Glimt by a dude called Filip Jörgensen. What a guy. Absolutely brilliant. And Roma also equalized against Spurs. What an afternoon we're having. I actually thought Roma even took the lead against Spurs, but the goal got disallowed. So that's a bit of a shame. But I absolutely love that. Absolutely love that. Tosin's surname can be pronounced easier by trying Adarabioyo. Adarabioyo. Fast. Adarabioyo. Yeah, you're right. Thank you for that, for 2-2. I will remember that. I will try to remember that. Adarabioyo. I appreciate it. I appreciate that. But yeah, now as for Disasi, I can't speak. As for Badiashile, it's a bit less clear because Badiashile plays in the complete other side of the defense, so it's not as Chalobah is better different positions. Chalobah wouldn't be very useful as a left centre back, would he? But certainly better than Desarzi, that's for sure. And I also think personally he's better than Tosin. But yeah, that's a whole different situation. Take the armband of James at this point. Now, I don't want to stick on this topic for too long, but just quickly, I personally don't think we should be stripping Reece James off the captaincy from a mental health perspective. Because now imagine he's already struggling, right? With getting injured again, devastated, right? Got it. If you strip him off the captaincy, I mean, you might as well send him into a mental health institution rather than to the recovery bench at Cobham. What I will say, though, is I wish someone like John Terry, maybe Gianfranco Zola, someone like that is somehow still indirectly involved with the club, would have a chat with Reece and maybe suggest to him, why don't you give away the captaincy for now? Focus on your recovery. Focus on being able to remain fit. And then in a few years, we can still look, can you be captain again or whatever? But I don't think he should be stripped. But I would actually like it. I think it would be good if he just handed it off. Maybe it could be a bit of a relief as well to not have the captain's responsibilities. The only other point from a different perspective that I can make, that you could make, is being captain and therefore still being involved with the squad even though he is injured so much. Is that one of the things keeping him going, that he still is important in a way? Because when you're injured so much, like it's one thing having a long spell injury, if it's a one-off, right? Or even a couple of times. But if you're injured almost permanently, you kind of become useless to the team and to the squad, right? But if you're at least captain, you still have some involvement. So, yeah, it worries me a little bit. The Dominant says, it's a bad look. We have captain and 3 co-captains. Give it the co-captain. Caicedo has been more vocal. Looks like good captain. Now, I personally wouldn't give it to Caicedo. Now, I know people probably don't like that. And to be fair, Caicedo has stepped up a bit more and more in this. I will absolutely admit that. But I just still don't think he's the right character for it. I think it should be Levi Colwill. I personally don't even really think it's much of a debate. It should be Levi Colwill if it's anybody other than the guys that play usually. Other than the guys that have usually. I think it should be, like I say, I find it surprising that this is even a debate for anybody other than Tosin. What is happening here? No, nothing. But yeah, I might have said wrong things there. When I try to read and do useful things at the same time, doesn't always go well. So we move on. Ben Roby Show, we gave a 5. We move on to Renato Vega. Now, he was an interesting one as well. Sorry. Interesting in the sense that it's difficult to rate these kind of players. Like, it's the same as when we go to Casadei, right? Because in a way, they did kind of good, but also Heidenheim getting so many chances. And if we're being critical of the defense, we need to also be critical of the midfield. And that was Casadei and Vega in possession at least. 0 out of 5 successful dribbles. Okay, 3 out of 5 long balls is pretty good. 2 out of 2 tackles is pretty good. 4 out of 11 ground, which is diabolical, by the way. Look at with Renato Vega's size and frame, that is shocking. 6 misplaced passes is good though, especially in midfield, even more impressive than as a centre back. But I don't think it was so bad, but I think it's also because of his position, he looks less dramatic in terms of being at fault for things. I think if you played centre back and played the same performance, people would be a lot more critical. But I'll squeeze him an 8. I'll squeeze him a 6. I'll squeeze him a 6 ever so slightly higher than the other boys. But I don't think it was particularly impressive. Let me react to a couple of more messages in the chat. So, can't fathom who at our club watched Desarzi and thought we should buy him. And he's good enough for us. He's a horrific defender and gets beaten easily by Conference League players. I agree. I agree. And think about how much we paid for Desarzi as well. Good, nearly like over 40 million. Over 40 million. Excuse me. Shocking. Gabriel says, at what point should we start talking about selling James? Well, the weird thing is, not before he starts being able to remain fit, because no one's going to buy him unless he is able to remain fit. You know what I mean? So from that perspective, at least not for now, not in January, maybe next summer, if there's another injury in the second half of the season or whatever, then maybe we have to think about it. But for now, I would lay off that. And Maresca said in the press conference as well, let's not talk about Reece James in that sense too much at the moment. He's struggling enough as it is. Let's support, let's do what football clubs are there, and football supporters are there to do. Let's support when he's back. And if we get into a transfer window and he's fit, then we can talk about it. But while he's injured, no one's buying him anyway. So it's a bit of a pointless discussion at the moment anyway. The problem with playing Vega and Casa is that both are sluggish. Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, that's why I think it was, in hindsight, still a bit silly to not include Lavia in the Conference League squad, because you're going to play Caicedo every Premier League game. So if you have no other DM, then Conference League, that's going to be an issue. But obviously, we're through already guaranteed to be at least in the playoffs. We need, depending on other results, either 1 or 2 more points to guarantee a top 8 finish, and then we're obviously straight through the round of 16. Let's get to Cesare Casadei. Let's look at his stats. Obviously got himself sent off at the end. Not sure how much value to give the fact that he got himself sent off at the very, very end. I'm surprised at these passing numbers. From the eye test, I thought his passing numbers would be better than this, and misplacing 11 passes, if I'm being totally honest. A successful dribble, 2 out of 3 successful long balls, 2 out of 2 tackles, 3 out of 8 ground duels. Still not great, but still much better than Vega was, who had, 4 out of 11? 2 out of 2 aerial duels is also pretty good. Now, I will give Casadei, I would give him a 7. But he got sent off. Now, you know what? Because so many people have told me it was an unfair second yellow card, that's why I'm going to give him a 7 still. Even though the second yellow card and the getting sent off kind of wants to make me say 6.5, but I'll let him have the 7. I'll let him have it. We move higher up the pitch. Kiernan Dewsbury Hall. Now, people know I don't really like him. In particular, I don't really rate him. And yeah, I understand. Yeah, maybe the red should take it down to 7 or 6.5. Yeah, fair enough. Like I say, I leave it at a 7 purely because I don't know if it was justified. And yeah, to get back to Dewsbury Hall, people know I don't rate him. People know I don't like him. People know that this is my biggest issue, that he is 26 years of age. Like, if he was 20, 21, even 22, even 23 maybe, a lot of what is happening, I would understand more. I would accept, okay, we signed a player, a bit of talent, got him from, ex-club of his manager, blah. Even if the reasons why that made a little bit of sense, like, okay, we have a player that knows the system and everything. He was used so little that clearly had no relevance at all. But he is one of the most experienced players in the squad, and every time he plays, he's one of the weakest links. Genuinely. How he didn't score either of those, absolute diabolical, especially that one. I mean, how it only has 0.45 XG, I will never know. That one obviously had very little XG, but my days. Yeah, I mean, let's look at the stats. To be honest, 89% passing, it's not bad. Only 6 misplaced passes in this position, can't complain too much. Successful dribble, 3 out of 6 crosses is, to be honest, not bad. 3 out of 4 long balls, also not bad. 4 out of 6 rounders is not bad. See, this is the weird thing about this, because I was also going to get to some praise for him as well. Tottenham game is popping off, is it? Now, Tottenham is 2-1 up, flip's sake. Don't say it's popping off when Spurs are leading. That's depressing. What I want to say about this, Bill, he still was involved in both of our goals. So, obviously, Disasi had won the ball back, like I touched on a few times now. Dewsbury Hall picked it up, played the through ball to Sancho. Sancho then crossed it, and Nkunku touched it, and second touch finish. So he was involved with that. And then for the second goal, he also played through Sancho, who again, this time cut it back to Mykhailo Mudryk, who then scored. So they won't show up as assist or whatever, but still, that is involvement into the goal. That is assist to the assist on both occasions. Should have scored. The stats are better than I thought they'd be, if I'm honest. Especially early in the game, I was like, what are you doing? The amount of time I felt he gave the ball away, it's crazy. But with the goal involvements, I give him a 6.5. I still don't think he warrants more, especially when he was lying on the floor, like as if he was injured, but then played on perfectly fine. And had he not remained lying on the floor, he would have scored the goal. Well, he might have missed it, but he would have had an absolute ginormous chance, because a lovely Mudryk dribble and cut back went to exactly the position that Dewsbury should have been, but he wasn't. So I'll give him a 6.5. He's still, is it harsh, guys? Do you think I should give him a 7? Who cares about Tottenham that ain't winning Europa League? I mean, they might win Europa League, but we'll see. Who's your man of the match from Chelsea's point of view? Seems everyone is pushing for Jörgensen. Yeah, 100% it's Jörgensen. Agreed with your opinion, Reece James, on the captaincy issue. Taking it away from him based on his challenge will be extremely brutal to his psyche. Exactly. How would the academy players process it, club image, etc.? Exactly. So that's right. But I still think it would be better for the club if he wasn't captain. So I still think it would be better if he would if he would just hand the captaincy off himself, a bit like Marco Reus did for Dortmund last season. He handed it off No, that didn't go particularly well because it ended up getting handed off to Emre Can, who's absolutely awful, essentially since getting the armband. But that's a whole separate problem. I mean, God of Frog says Dewsbury all 7 prob, but he was mostly rubbish, but goal involvement, I guess. There you go. I'll say 6.5. I'll say 6.5. And next, I'll keep Nkunku for kind of striker because he played the second or the latter part of the game as a striker. So let's get to Jadon Sancho first. 2 assists. As was mentioned by the chat earlier, should have had 3 assists because he was the one that played in Dewsbury Hall for his huge one-on-one chance that he should have scored. Oh, so officially Sancho didn't even get the first assist. That's a shame because maybe there was a small touch by an opposition player before Nkunku scored. I think it's a bit harsh and it should be 2 assists if I'm honest. But there you go. I'm certainly counting it as 2 assists for him. Only misplaced 4 passes. I think it was lively. I don't like someone said in the chat earlier, I think it would be lovely if he was a bit more, going towards goal sometimes. But I mean, hey, if you get 2 assists, could have had 3. How critical can you be? 3 out of 6 dribbles could be higher, sure, but not too bad. Again, that should be 1 out of 1, and it should be and it should be 2 assists. One long ball that was successful, 1 tackle was successful, decent ground, dual numbers. I'm giving Sancho a 7.5. I'm giving Sancho a 7.5. What did Don't CFC rates KDH highly? Who is Don CFC? One said he's good enough backup for Parma and went on about his championships as mate. Whoever thought Dewsbury Hall is even remotely... Dewsbury Hall, if he went to Heidenheim, wouldn't start. I'm telling you that much. And it's a fact, by the way. It's an absolute fact what I'm saying. No, maybe it's not. But yeah, anyway. It's certainly nowhere near good enough for us. But yeah, I'm giving Jadon Sancho 7.5. What do people think about that? Let me know, guys. What do you think? 7.5 for Jadon Sancho. Is that fair? Too high? Too low? I don't think it's too low. But I think it warrants this rating. 7.5, I'm happy with. And we move on to Mykhailo Mudryk on the other side. Now, this is a difficult one to rate now. Because in my opinion, and again, this is my opinion. I understand some people will have different opinions. You know what? I will put a poll in the chat. Let me just type it out. Should the foul, in quotation marks, on Mudryk have been a penalty? And you're deciding yes or no. So I really would love for you to get involved in that poll in the chat. It should be there now, either below if you're on the phone in the live chat or next to us, next to me. Probably this way, I think. Yeah, so place your vote whether that should have been a penalty or not. Currently, we have 2 votes. One said yes, one said no. So that tells you everything you need to know. But in my opinion, he should have had a penalty for that, in my opinion. And then that would have obviously even accentuated how good of a game he would have played. Now, question is, had we in that moment gone then 2-0 up, would he have even scored the goal? He did in the end. Maybe not. So maybe the way it went was preferable for Mudryk, and he actually was happy with the way it goes. Now, this number, not great. 12 out of 21 passes. That's actually pretty damn shocking. What do you mean 9 misplaced passes and only 12 successful? That's pretty poor. But that shot, I mean, we spoke about it earlier, was just outrageous. It was. I'm going to bring it up again because it was that good. Because it was that good, I need to bring it up again. What an effort. Now, again, he was completely unmarked. He was completely on his own in that area of the pitch, in the kind of close to the D of the box, just inside the edge of the box, I suppose. He was completely on his own. But that finish, almost so unnecessarily top bins. So unnecessarily top bins. It's absolutely unbelievable. Fair play to him. I'll react to your message in a second, Gabriel and RC, just because we're currently speaking about Mudryk. Again, if I go back to the stats, like we saw, the passing wasn't great. The dribbles, okay. I mean, Sancho had 3 out of 6. Mudryk has 2 out of 5. It's all right. Crosses, again, what? I saw him cross to a teammate. How can it be 0? I don't get these stats. Ground duels, strong though. So I'll give Mudryk a 7. I think he was in general a little bit less effective. No, I'll give him a 7.5 as well. Because I think he should have won us the penalty. And he scored a phenomenal goal. I think that warrants a 7.5, just like it does for Sancho. Because there's a case to make that Sancho needs to do a little bit more in other areas and not just go for that. Like says, yes, good assist, but Sancho needs to unlock himself. He has the talent. He needs to have the courage to be positive. Absolutely. Again, I understand it a bit more when he's playing on the right side of the pitch because it doesn't lead himself so well to going for goals. But he also doesn't when he plays on the right. So, sorry, when he plays on the other side, on the left side, and he cuts into his right foot, which he likes to do more. So I hear it. RC says, I called KDH championship level player on a stream, and that angry numpty Jimmy Spliff, don't know who that is, but fair, said I was dropped on my header berth, and he was more like, yeah, ignore those people, RC, ignore them. They're just stupid. If you think Dewsbury Hall is a great player, now, is he better than championship? Yeah, I think so. But is he good enough for Chelsea? Absolutely not. Is he better than Chukwuemeka? No, although Carney, when recently getting minutes, not good either, like today. But that's a whole separate issue. Let's now get to Christopher Nkunku. Another weird one, because Nkunku never does things normal, does he? Because he scored a really good goal, but messed up two absolute monster chances. Now, the first one, through on goal. I have no idea who set him up on that one. But through on goal, decides to chip the goalkeeper and chips it like 2 meters over the goal. Shocking. Absolutely shocking effort. It's like he's attempting to be in a circus, but in a really bad one. Do you know what I mean? But then, like I say, did score that one goal. You can see it there from the angle. Once he got to the shot, it should be a goal, but the control of the ball was very impressive. So he's done good there. But then this one. 1-on-1 with the goalkeeper, played through on the counter by João Felix. He kind of got tired by the end, went on his wrong side, on his left side, also made it easier for the defender to kind of step in. If you just cut him, he either gets fouled and the guy gets sent off, or the defender can't really pressure him. But instead, he went on his left foot, terrible finish, terrible attempt. Goalkeeper saves it easily, falls over, gets injured. Brilliant. So now we have no idea if Nkunku will be injured. Will he be injured for a long time? Will he not? No idea. But he still did get his goal. He's scored in every single round of the European games that he's featured in, and he's featured in all of them. He's scored in every single game, so fair play. So obviously a lot of them are penalties, but not in this one. Of course, you can argue he probably would have had 2 goals had the penalty on Mudryk been given. So make of that what you will. But yeah, 9 misplaced passes. It's the same as Mudryk, but obviously had a lot more passes, so a lot more acceptable. Absolutely. 3 out of 4 shots were at least on target. 2 out of 3 successful dribbles. There was one really lovely dribble through a lot of tight through the defenders in a very tight area in the box, at the edge of the box. That was very good. 2 out of 2 successful crosses. Don't remember those, but fair dues. 2 out of 2 tackles. 5 out of 8 ground duels. Now, honestly, Nkunku, other than his finishing today, was good. But the finishing on 2 occasions was just really bad. So, yeah, that is tricky to judge. Think Sancho probably should have a higher rating just by a bit, bringing him up to an 8. I hear that, but I just don't think he quite warrants an 8. Does he? I mean, get involved, guys. If anybody else thinks Sancho warrants an 8, let me know. I'll give Nkunku a 7. Purely because I don't think he warrants as low a rating as Dewsbury Hall. Do I now think, but you know what? I'll reduce. I've got to. But then I've got to give him Nkunku a 7. I have to. I can't. I know he missed 2 big chances, but I can't give him the same as Dewsbury Hall. So I'm either. Nah, I will. Dewsbury Hall, and I know Nkunku scored an important goal and everything, but you can't miss chances like that. 6.5 from me. Sorry, I've got it. I can't not go in again. Heidenheim obviously decent. The most difficult opponent in group stages, league stages, but still 15th in the Bundesliga, man. And it should have been easier. Mark, you. I mean, what do I make of the guy? I sometimes feel bad when I'm being too critical of the guy, if I'm being honest. I do sometimes feel bad about it. And you can see he's just so raw because he's not a bad player. You can tell that he's not a bad player. But, I mean, he had 6 shots. How many of them were on target? So why does he say 6 shots here and there? He says 5. Makes no sense. I guess 1 was blocked. 3 of them were on target, but at least 1 of them should have been a goal. At least, better pass than a Mudryk. 3 out of 6 ground duels. I'll give him a 6 because, kid's still 19. Got himself involved and everything. Yeah, it's just difficult, isn't it? It's just difficult. I'll give him a 6, but, it can certainly be a debate to be made for many things. But he sure was better than Disasi. Not for me. Disasi was at least involved in getting us a goal. Panishilma certainly wasn't. And we just went for an unnecessary shot from distance once. Got himself booked in the first minute, even though I think it was harsh. But then he's on edge for the whole rest of the game. Got passed way too easily on a number of occasions. Now, like Disasi, but at least Panishil is actually playing his position, unlike Disasi. Do you know what I mean? I get you. Maybe Panishil could have at least 5.5 as well. But because he was not involved in any sort of creating any goals, I just don't think it's quite warranted. Again, why is the connection unstable? It pisses me off. I have good Wi-Fi. Why does it keep thinking it's unstable? It just really irks me, I gotta say. But yeah, I'll give you that 6. Now, let me look. You can't see me right now, but it doesn't matter. I'm hopefully back now for you guys. Let's look at our subs. We made 4 subs today. João Felix coming on for Mykhailo in the 62nd minute. And then really, other than he played one lovely through ball to Nkunku, that should have been a goal. Otherwise, I don't remember anything that he did. How many touches did he have? 15 touches as well in nearly half an hour is kind of shocking, really. 7 passes, only 4 of them successful. 2 dribbles, 1 out of 0 crosses, 0 out of 1 crosses, 2 out of 5 ground goals. Carney. I mean, and as many touches basically as Felix did in half the minutes. Obviously played a bit deeper. At least didn't misplace passes, but ground duels won. To be fair, he put a shift in, but I didn't really notice him as particularly good. Sam Rexaki, obviously no stats here, as you can tell, but he made, was it his debut? I think he came on once before, and Tyreek George came on so late that they were kind of irrelevant, if we're being totally honest. I know João Felix played long enough to give him a rating, but if I do give him a rating, he probably kind of has to get a low rating, I think. So that's why we're just not going to give him a rating, because I don't think we're out here to just necessarily be negative. So I'm just going to save it for him. Same as Carney Chukwuemeka, he gets an NA as well. And of course, who was even the guys that was subbed off? Let me see. Sancho and Dewsbury. Yeah, makes sense. So Sancho was replaced by Tyreek George, and Dewsbury Hall was replaced by Saki. And I did spell his name right. Are you proud of me, guys? Are you proud of me, guys? So we're going to round this out in a couple of minutes. We're just going to finish it off by talking about Enzo Maresca. So far, by the way, still on 50-50, whether it should have been a penalty for Mudryk or not. Get involved in that poll in the live chat. And currently, we only have 14 votes. So, but yeah, it's split 7-7. So it's interesting. Very, very interesting. But yeah, get involved. Get involved. Oh, 16 votes. Now we're more on this should have been a penalty. Enzo Maresca. Let me see. Has there been any quotes? Has there been anything interesting said post-game yet? No. By the way, Sancho has 5 assists in 6 games. It's not bad. Okay. That's an interesting one. I mean, guys, you might not agree with what Maresca is saying here. Philip did a very good game. Chris did the same. We have 9 or 10 games in December, so they are going to get more chances. They need to be ready. Axel Benoit, Sancho did a good game too. So yeah, he thinks Dizazi and Badiashile were good. So interesting. I also didn't think, yeah, I don't know. But yeah, I mean, for me, Jörgensen was the man of the match, the best player, but to put 0 effort. Not today. Sorry. And I'll show you why, Lord. I'll show it to you. Look, we go to Nkunku. He had 2 out of 2 tackles successful. No one in the team had more than 2 tackles. He had 5 out of 8 ground duels won as well, which is pretty good going as well. I don't think that is so fair today, what you're saying. Now, in some other games, this may be applicable, but I think today that's a little bit harsh and a little bit unfair, personally. But let's get to Enzo Maresca. Where do we put him? Let's put him down with man of the match, Jorgensen. I mean, obviously, because the game was so tight for so long, I understand not bringing on some of the youngsters earlier, but it was still a bit sad. The lineup, yeah, what can you really debate about? The only thing you can debate, should Sancho have started tonight, because that means he won't start on Sunday probably. But I think in the grand scheme of things, you can't be too mad at Maresca. I'll give him a 7. Nothing too crazy. I don't want to go too high, but hey, we won 2-0, kept the clean sheet. One of his subs should have had a great assist in Felix if it wasn't for Nkunku bottling it. I'll give it a 7. Do people think that's too high? This as it needs to go. I mean, I agree, but the match clearly disagree. So make of that what you will. Yeah, let me know, guys. Do you think a 7 is too high for Enzo Maresca? United have equalised. Through Rasmus Højlund. Hopefully, Bodo can still get a result. That would be hilarious. Badiashile, there's something that, I mean, yeah, there is something there. The problem with Badiashile is his inconsistency for me. he plays a fantastic game at Anfield. Sorry, not Anfield. Against Leicester. Actually, did he play against at Anfield? He might have done. Whatever. But against Leicester, he had a really, really good game. And then he plays today and has a fairly poor game. You know what? I'm going to slightly adapt my rating for my issue. Maybe I was too harsh. I'll give him a 5.5 as well. So they can all have a 5.5. But yeah. I'll give Maresca a 7. And I think we're going to round it out here. And then my plan is, guys, on Saturday, to check out the stream. Hopefully, I'll get a couple of boys on. Maybe Pies, maybe Charlie. I'll need to chat to them if they're potentially available in the afternoon time. I'd like to get that done. Want to get into the kind of pre-game streams and midweek streams, or not just reaction streams after games a bit more again. I'm going to try to make that happen. Ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate you all for tuning in. If you're still here, thank you. I love you really very much. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for being active in the chat. God of Rogue, shout out you. Shout out Favole. You've been very active today. Appreciate it. Same for Gabriel. Same for JC. RC, sorry. For Tutu, of course, as well. Who else was active in this? The Demonent, shout out you as well. Appreciate you. Kevin was active earlier too. JJ Bridge, appreciate you guys. Cranky Pants said he was not going to be as active because he was tired. Felix made 1 tackle and won 2 out of 5 ground duels in 30 minutes. Need more from Nkunku? Okay, valid to some extent. But I genuinely didn't feel that about Nkunku today. There was a couple of occasions where I actually thought he really won the ball back really well and was getting stuck in a little bit. So in a lot of games, I would have agreed with this. Just not quite today, but you still have a bit of a point when you compare the stats of Felix and Nkunku. So valid. Mark, you has moved above Nkunku for striker role in conference games. I'm not sure quite that's how this worked. I think it was more like Maresca actually wants to play Nkunku in his best position, because he's noticing a lot of people started to question Nkunku and Nkunku being less happy. So he's trying to play him in his best position. And his best position is standing up front. I just think we need another striker in January. I don't think it should be Gyökeres. I don't think it should be Osimhen. I don't think it should be anybody worth more than 25, 30 million max. I think in an ideal world it will be Chris Wood. Obviously that won't happen because too old for this ownership and how we like to handle and the type of players that we want to have. But you being our only backup striker, aside from Nkunku, is not a striker. It's not ideal for me. It's fine while Jackson's in good form and everything in a conference league. This will do, at least for now. But if Jackson picks up an injury, if Jackson gets a suspension, big trouble. Big trouble. Thank you, Lord. Appreciate you for tuning in. Hopefully you will tune in again next time. Like I say, it should be back on Saturday. Most certainly will be back on Sunday after the game, even though that's a bit of a rough one because Chelsea play at my time, 2:30. And then the F1, and as you know, I'm big into my F1, starts at 5 o'clock. So literally half an hour after the Chelsea game ends. Brilliant. Not ideal for my stream, but we'll figure out. Maybe we'll do an F1 watch along. But most of my viewers are probably not so much into F1, so that's a bit sad. But yeah, shout out all of you guys. If you haven't already, please be sure to subscribe. Hit that like button for me. Helps me out a lot. Spreading these streams out to more people. Appreciate you all. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys for watching. Up the Chelsea, upwards and onwards, and I will see you next time.